Now we're reading Parshat Azria. We're going to read Hamishi now. The translation is by Rabbi Kaplan. The translation of Rashi is by the Pentateuch by Rabbis Sharfman and Ben Azria. V'ra'a hakohen et hanega v'hinei mar'ehu amok min ha'or uvoho se'ar tzahov dak v'tamei oto hakohen netek hu tzarat harosh v'zakan hi v'ra'a hakohen et hanega v'hinei mar'ehu amok min ha'or uvoho se'ar tzahov dak v'tamei oto hakohen netek hu tzarat harosh v'zakan hu. This is the law of a man or a woman who has an affliction on the head or the beard. The priest shall examine the affliction, and if it has the appearance penetrated the skin, if it appears to have penetrated the skin and has fine blonde hairs on it, the priest shall declare it unclean. Such a bald mark is a sign of the leprous curse on the head or the beard. Verse 31. V'chi yirei hakohen et nega hanetek. V'chi yirei hakohen et nega hanetek. V'hinei ein mareu amok min ha'or v'se'ar shachor ein bo. V'izkir hakohen et nega hanetek shivat yamim. V'chi yirei hakohen et nega hanetek. V'hinei ein mareu amok min ha'or v'se'ar shachor ein bo. V'izkir hakohen et nega hanetek shivat yamim. However, if, when the priest examines the bald patch, the affliction does not appear to have penetrated the skin, but it does not have black hair on it, the priest shall quarantine the person afflicted by the bald patch for 7 days. Rashi. Verse 29, he said, upon the head or upon the beard. If a man or woman has a plague upon the head or the beard. So the Torah comes to differentiate between a plague that is in the place of the hair and a plague that's in the place of flesh. Because the sign of the latter is white hair. The sign of a plague on the place of flesh is white hair, and the sign of the plague in the place of the hair is a yellow hair. So white hair on the rest of the body, and yellow hair on places that have on the head or on the beard. For verse 30, verse 30 had said, Uvo se'ar tzahov, if it has a yellow hair. Rashi says, because the black hair that was in it changed to yellow. And it says netekhu, it's a skull. And netek, the Sharfman translates as a skull. And Rabbi Kaplan translated 31, a bald patch. A bald patch is a skull. So in Hebrew, a netek. Netek is separated, menutak. There's a separation between this and that. In other words, there's no hair. There's a separation between the places that grow hair. So it is a skull. This netek is the name of a plague which is in the hair, in the place of the hair. At verse 31, Rashi says in verse 31, and if the priest look on the plague of the skull, and behold, the appearance thereof is not deeper than the skin, and there's no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut up him that has the plague of the skull for 7 days. Rashi said, and if there's no black hair in it, but if there was in it black hair, he's clean, and he need not be shut up, for the black hair is a sign of cleanliness, of cleanness in skulls, or bald patches, as is stated in verse 37, and black hair grows on it, etc. Verse 32, וראה הכהן את הנגע ביום השביעי, והנה לא פסע הנתק, ולא היה בו שיער צהוב, ומראה הנתק אין עמוק מן האור. וראה הכהן את הנגע ביום השביעי, והנה לא פסע הנתק, ולא היה בו שיער צהוב, ומראה הנתק אין עמוק מן האור. On the seventh day the priest shall examine the mark if the bald mark has not increased in size, and if there is no blonde hair in it, so that the mark does not appear to have penetrated the skin. Rashi says, and v'hine lo fasa, and behold, the bald spot has not spread, but if it did spread, or if there was a yellow hair in it, he is tameh, he's unclean. Verse 33. והתגלח את הנתק לא יגלח, והזכיר הכהן את הנתק 7 ימים שנית, והתגלח את הנתק לא, והתגלח ואת הנתק לא יגלח, again, והתגלח ואת הנתק לא יגלח, והזכיר הכהן את הנתק 7 ימים שנית. 33. If the person shall shave himself without shaving off the bald patch, the priest shall then quarantine the person having the bald patch for a second 7-day period. Verse 33, Rashi says, Vitgalach, and he shall be shaved around the bald patch. But if the bald patch, but he shall not shave the bald patch. He leaves 2 hairs close to it, round about, in order that it may be recognized whether it spread, for if it will spread, it will pass beyond the hairs and go forth to the place that was shaven. Verse 34. וראה הכהן את הנתק ביום השביעי, והנה לא פסע הנתק באור, ומראהו איננו עמוק מן האור, וטיהר אותו הכהן וכיבס בגדיו וטהר. וראה הכהן את הנתק ביום השביעי, והנה לא פסע הנתק באור, ומראהו איננו עמוק מן האור, וטיהר אותו הכהן וכיבס בגדיו וטהר. The priest shall examine the bald patch on the 7th day, and if the area of the fallen hair is not increased in size, or if the affliction does not appear to have penetrated the skin, the priest shall declare it clean. The person must immerse his body in clothing, and he is clean. Verse 35. ואם פסו יפסה הנתק באור אחרי טהרתו, ואם פסו תפסה הנתק באור אחרי טהרתו. However, if the bald patch increases in size after he has cleansed himself, the priest must examine it again. Rashi says, after his cleansing, I know that this law applies only if it spreads, which is called that this law applies only if it spreads after being discharged from the quarantine. When it is derived, when is it derived that it applies also at the end of the first week and at the end of the second week? It's because the Torah teaches, quote, Pasa yifseh, if it shall spread at all. In other words, at any time. Verse 36, וראה הכהן והנה פסו הנתק בעור לא יבקר הכהן לשיער הצהוב טמא הוא. וראה הכהן והנה פסה הנתק בעור לא יבקר הכהן לשיער הצהוב טמא הוא. The priest must examine it again. If the bald patch has increased in size, the priest need not look for blonde hairs, since he is automatically tameh, unclean. Verse 37. Ve'im be'enav amad hanetek v'sar shachor tzamach bo nirpa hanetek tahor hu v'tiharo hakohen. Ve'im be'enav amad hanetek v'sar shachor tzamach bo nirpa hanetek tahor hu v'tiharo hakohen. But if the bald patch remain the same, or if the black hair grows on it, then the bald patch has healed and it is clean. The priest shall declare the person clean. In verse 37, Rashi says, and the black hair, but if in its appearance the bald patch stays and a black hair grows on it, so Rashi says a black hair, from where do we derive that even if there grows green or red hair which is not yellow? Scripture states, and hair, the vav. It says, there's a special sign here in the Torah where it says, V'se'ar. It didn't have to say, it's an excess vav, an extraneous vav. There's nothing extraneous in the Torah, so a seemingly extraneous vav, because it could have said, if in its appearance the bald patch stays, black hair grows on it. No, it says, and black hair grows on it, so it's the and is seemingly superfluous. There's nothing superfluous, so that means it's coming to teach that tzahov, the color yellow, denotes something similar to the appearance of gold. The former tzahov is like zahov. Zahav, tzahov. They're almost the same. The word for gold and the word for yellow are almost the same. Yellow has a tzaddik, gold has a zayin. They're very similar sounding letters. And in Old French that would be orpal, as Rashi mentions. And says, he is clean. The verse states that he is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. But an unclean person, whom the priest pronounced clean, he is not clean. Verse 38. Ve'ish o isha kiyev or b'saram baheret levanot baherot levanot. Again. Ve'ish o isha kiyev or b'saram baherot levanot. Ve'ish o isha kiyev or b'saram beharot. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong. This is the right way to say it. Ve'ish o isha kiyev or b'saram beharot levanot. Again. Ve'ish o isha kiyev or b'saram beharot levanot. Translates. If the skin of a man or woman's body becomes covered with white spots, the priest shall examine it. If the skin is merely covered with dull white spots, it is a simple rash breaking out on the skin. It is clean. Verse 39, I just read the translation. I'll read it again. V'ra'ah hakohen v'nei v'or b'saram beharot kehot levanot bo haki parach bo'or tahor hu. V'ra'ah hakohen v'nei v'or b'saram beharot kehot levanot bo haku parach bo'or tahor hu. Vara hakohen v'nei vor b'saraham beharot kehot levanot. Bohak hu parach bor tahor hu. Tahor hu. But the priest shall examine it. If the skin is merely covered with dull white spots, it is a simple rash breaking out of the skin, and it is clean. Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan says, rash, bohak in Hebrew. This teaches that no matter how many spots there are, if they are a dull white and not bright, like the marks mentioned in chapter 13, verse 2, they're not the bright ones mentioned earlier, then this is not considered a leprous mark. That's according to Maimonides. There is, however, a question as to whether or not it is considered healthy skin, as in Mikra, as in verse 13, chapter 13, verse 10. That's from the Tosfos Yom Tov in Negaim, chapter 6, Mishnah 6. Some identify a bohak as vitiligo or leukodermy. The Septuagint translates it as agopokia, which seems to indicate a precursor of hair loss, agopokia. Rashi says, verse 38, verse 39, Rashi says a dull white, kehot levanot. Their whiteness is not bright but dull. A bohak, he translates here as a tetter. We were using the word rash. This kind of whiteness that is seen on the skin of a ruddy man. In Old French it was rouge. The space between the spots of his redness is called a bohak, a freckled spot, like a freckled man. But when between one freckle and another, the skin shines bright with a clear whiteness. Veish ki yimaret rosho kereachu tahor hu.